we're going to do is we're going to look at timelines. We're going to look at timelines, and we're going to combine it with compound interest. So timelines plus compound interest. Okay. So I haven't particularly spoken too much or given you examples of compound interest, but I'm going to do it in this video, right? And then finally at the end of this we're going to work through a number of examples from both grade 10, grade 11 and also grade 12 work. Okay, so let's look at this. What is a timeline question? Well, I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to say Sarah invests 2,500 Rand in an investment. Okay. Let's skip the part of in an investment and go straight into Sarah invests 2,500 Rand in an investment that pays a 8% interest compounded quarterly. Okay. Sarah invests 2,500 Rand in an investment that pays 8% interest compounded quarterly. Okay. After 2 years, she invests another 3,000 Rand, or an additional 3,000 Rand, that is compounded monthly at a rate of 12%. Okay, so let's put all of this into a timeline type of question, right? So I'm going to draw a line, and I'm going to insert in there that, you know, Sarah invested 2,500 Rand at a certain time, and I'm going to make that T0. Okay, and then after 2 years she invested more money, so I'm going to make that T2. Okay, and then I'm going to complete the question by saying calculate the value of the investment after 5 years. After 5 years. And that's what we're really interested in over there. So what we need to do is we need to look at this critically, and we need to say, okay, well, there's T0, this is going to be T2, and this is going to be T5. So let's start off T0, that's year 1. This is T2, that's after 2 years. So I'm going 1 year, 2 years. And then eventually this is going to be T5, which is going to be after 5 years. Okay, so if you look at, let's say over here, Sarah invested plus 2,500 Rands. Okay, and then over here, Sarah included 3,000 Rands. Okay, and then finally we want to know what's the value at the end of all of this. Okay, so when I go from year to year over this period, you will notice that the interest rate is 8%, and it is going to be compounded quarterly. And then if I work from here until there, that is going to be a period of, remember this is 2 years, right? And this period over here is 3 years, and in total they give me 5 years. This period over here is paying at an interest rate of 12%, and that is compounded monthly. Now, there's going to be a separate calculation for this section and a separate calculation for this section. And now let us carefully think about that. I need to work out what is the value of the investment. I put in 2,500. I end up at the end of 2 years with a certain amount in that investment, and then I'm adding an additional 3,000 Rand, and then I need to calculate the rest of this. So what I'm really saying is that my final value here, I add the 3,000 to it, and that will give me my initial value for the second part of the calculation. Okay, so let's see how we do this. Okay, for the sake of just making calculations easier, I'm going to redraw that. and in that time you can convince yourself that what I'm doing was true and correct, and that it's identical to whatever's on the first page. T0, T2, T5. Okay, here we're inserting plus 2,500 rands, and here we're adding an additional 3,000 rand, and we're interested in what's the value at the end over there. This is a 3-year period, okay, and this over here is a 2-year period. Okay, now let's just take that out, make it 2 years, like so. Okay, 2 years, 3 years. 12% compounded monthly, 8% compounded quarterly. And let's do that calculation. Well, all you're going to do is you're going to say, let's take the compound interest formula and say it's A equals P 1 plus I to the power of N. Okay, and we're going to do this for the first 2-year period. We're going to say, well, okay, let me substitute in that. I want to know what is A, and that's really going to be P, which is 2,500 rands, multiplied by 1 plus I, the interest rate is 8%, which is 0,08. But remember, I said it is compounded quarterly, which means we must divide I. If we go back to our table, the effect on I, if it's quarterly, we must divide I by 4. And we must take N, the 2-year period, and multiply it by 4. And that's going to give me 8. Okay, and let's see what I'm going to get over there. At the end of 2 years, I'm going to just do some calculator magic and say that's 2,500 rand multiplied by 1 plus 0,08 over 4 to the power of 8. 2929,15. 2929, comma, let's fix that 9 over there, comma 15 rands. And that's the value of my investment over here. The value at T2 of this investment is going to be 2929,15, 2,929 rands and 15 cents. Now remember, that's the value here, 2929,15. That's the actual value. Now that's the value of my 2-year investment, but I now need to add an additional 3,000 rand to it. And so I'm going to call that the new P. I'm going to say that is my new P. We're taking this and we're going to say new P is equal to the old value of the investment at that particular time, plus the 3,000. It's going to be 2929,15 plus 3,000 rands. And that's going to give me the following. It's going to say, well, okay, that's going to be 5,929 rands and 15 cents. Well, let's take that a step further. Now I need to calculate the value of the investment over this period of time. And I'm going to say the same formula, A equals P, 1 plus I to the power of N. And then we're going to substitute in that. And we're going to say, well, okay, P is now going to be 5,929,15 multiplied by 1 plus, okay, this isn't going to work out for me here. And let's just take that into the next row over there. It's 5,929,15. That's your new P that you're interested in, and you're calculating it for the second half that we find over here. And I'm going to multiply that by 1 plus, and the interest rate is 0,12. And because it is compounded monthly, if I go back, the effect of compounding monthly is going to be divide I by 12 and multiply the number of years by 12. So it's going to be divided by 12, and this year is going to be 3 years multiplied by 12. And let's see what we're going to get for that. Okay, and so if we throw that into the calculator, what we'll get is an answer of 6,681 rands and 11 cents. And that's going to be my result. So what you've seen is we've taken an investment, we've worked it out to a certain point, we've added additional money to it, and then we've used that total that we have in the investment at that point in time for a new compounding period, compounding interval, and so forth. Okay, and so that's an example of a timeline, but also an example in which you've seen two applications of compounding interest, one in which the interest was compounded quarterly and the other in which the interest was compounded monthly.